So we do have some breaking news regarding Alejandro Balde, and it has been said that Alejandro Balde might be going for surgery in order to recover, but in result, that would mean that he is going to have to be out for the rest of this season. He will no longer participate in the season that we are currently in. Now, there is an option for Alejandro Balde to not take the surgery, but it has been reported by the doctors that if he chooses the route of no surgery, that would mean that there's a possibility that he could go on relapse and get injured again. And that is why the doctors recommend that the safest route is for him to just go through surgery, but in result, there is going to be no more game time for the rest of this season, meaning that Xavi Hernandez is going to have to figure out how he's going to be placing his defensive line without Alejandro Balde, a player that for sure had a huge part in Xavi's plans. Now let's keep in mind, there is a internal debate. We don't know for sure whether the surgery is going to happen or not. Balde may say, I don't want to take the surgery, I want to play, it does not matter, I will be okay. But it does seem like the surgery will go through. It's just right now everything is very 50-50. So here is where it does get very interesting, right? Now knowing that Balde is most likely going to be out for the rest of the season, seeing how Marcos Alonso, another left back of ours and also a center back, who is also going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks more from today, that would mean that our only full back options is going to be, yes, Jules Koundé on the right back position with Joao Cancelo on the left back position. But there is one player here that is emerging right now, and that is Hector Fort, a player that is emerging in the right moments, because Alejandro Balde is about to go out for the rest of the season, and now we have Hector Fort making an impact for Barcelona. So everything here is happening with great timing. And the fact that Hector Fort has this opportunity to really make a mark for himself at this club, with now knowing that Balde is going to be out, it could be a chance for him to make a name for himself. And by the time this season is over, we can safely say Hector Fort is going to be one of the fullbacks for the future, and especially for FC Barcelona. Now, I know that many of you guys have been worried about Fort himself, right? You guys have also seen him limping against Athletic Club. He could not play like a single minute more without him like limping on the field. But everything has been said that, Fort is going to be okay, that he is not encountering an injury, and that he should be available for the match against Villarreal. So everything is completely fine. Now, let's also keep in mind that Hector Fort is originally a right back. He's not supposed to be playing in Alejandro Balde's position. But the fact that Hector Fort went up against Athletic Club and played with a great display as a left back, he was out of position. It goes to show that yes, Fort is more than capable to take on the position of Balde. And that's very exciting, because I think that when you compare Fort and Alejandro Balde and their playing styles, you can say that maybe Balde is faster, right? He is better with the ball in terms of like dribbling and trying to go from the midfield all the way into the attacking third. But in terms of who is the better defender all around and the player that you can rely on in terms of 1v1 duels, that is Hector Fort. He is much more composed, much better in terms of like anticipating on where the ball is going to go, and you just feel more safe with him covering the left back position. He was marking Inaki Williams very well. And this is a player that knows how to run with the ball. He's really good. And Hector Fort said, no, I'm going to be composed. I don't care who you are. I'm just going to be here and I'm going to focus on the ball. You can really see through his body language what he is focusing on. And you just love to see it. I think that right now, I would say that Hector Fort looks like the much better defender compared to Jules Koundé and Joao Cancelo. And that tells you a lot on just how good this player is. And just at 17 years old. And the fact that he can get even better through these next 2 or 3 games and really gain that rhythm, it's exciting. And so this is a moment for him to take advantage of, to really build his career. And it's just so crazy, right? It is just so insane to see, like, where would Barcelona be without La Masia? La Masia just continues to introduce new talents every season. And I remember back in the I would say between 2014 until 2019, there was that black period of La Masia not really producing anything in terms of talent. And I would say that maybe they did have talent through that era between 2014 and 2019, that 5-year era. It's just that the sporting project through that time did not permit for those gems to really blossom in the first team. They did not even give them chances, because around that time we had ex-president Bartomeu, a president that did allow a sporting project where they could spend hundreds of millions of euros every summer, every winter transfer window, to buy the best players in the world, without any real like strategy on how they were going to use them, and that did not allow for La Masia and its players to really blossom in the first team, is because they knew that they stood no chance to go into the first team, because Barcelona, all they did was buy world-class players that did not even fit together. And that's why we did see many gems from La Masia at that time go to different clubs where they can get a chance to play in first team football. But now that we're in this moment where Barcelona are struggling financially, where you can tell that the sports project of Xavi Hernandez and Deco allows for the youth to have a chance into the first team. Now seeing that all of this is being kind of introduced, we're really starting to see just how good La Masia is and how much they can actually produce. Right? And we have only been giving out talent on top of talent since 2019 up until today, with Ansu Fati coming in, with Gavi coming in, with Balde coming in. We even saw Eric Garcia, a player that left back in 2017. He went to Girona, but another player, another great center back that people would like to have. We saw Lamine Yamal come through the ranks. Fermin Lopez is also another player. And now we're seeing Cubarsí, Hector Fort. It's just so exciting to see just how many players they can introduced to the first team. La Masia is just something that Barcelona would not even exist without La Masia. And it gets me very excited because right now we have a lot of youngsters that are like 17, 18 years old that are really trying to showcase what they can do. And they represent Barcelona so well. They fight for the badge. And we saw that against Athletic Club with Cubarsí, Hector Fort, Lamine Yamal. And that is why, in my opinion, I don't think that Barcelona will ever die. Ever. As long as they continue to really add emphasis on La Masia, is because even if Barcelona is broke and they have no money and they can't spend anything, they can still pull out some random kid from La Masia, put him into the first team, and then everybody will know his or her name. And apparently, the player that we are all talking about, it is Hector Fort today, a player that is also really good on the ball. I remember he made like an amazing like pass to Lewandowski. I think it was on the 70th minute in the second half, that all Lewandowski had to do was for him to like shoot the ball or like cross the ball inside the box, and it could have been a goal. But it was an amazing key pass from Hector Fort, so he can do both things. He's great defensively and great offensively. So I think that if Xavi wants to place the best defensive line, a defensive line that is not so attacked focused, it would be Hector Fort on the left, Jules Koundé on the right back position, with our center backs being Christensen and Araujo. That is your best defensive line that you can put out right now in terms of like, if you really want your defense to be defense focused. If you want something more attacking, of course, you can place in Joao Cancelo, and you have Joao Cancelo on the right back position with maybe Hector Fort on the left back position, and then our center backs is Koundé and Araujo. There's plenty of ways that Xavi Hernandez can tackle this, which is why I don't see the loss of Alejandro Balde so huge. I feel bad for the player because I want him to play. I want him to feel like he is important, because to be honest, like Alejandro Balde has not been so good this season. He only had like a goal and an assist so far in all competitions. And so sportingly, I don't think it will be a huge loss. I think that is great for, I would say, depth, but it just won't be a huge loss. I'm sorry. Like Alejandro Balde did not have his best season. And I think with Hector Fort coming in, we won't feel those effects. I just want Alejandro Balde to get better, come in and regain his confidence, because I just feel like Balde did have an off season. So seeing these next upcoming matches, it gets me very excited for Hector Fort, because he would be able to play against Villarreal, Osasuna, Alaves, and then we have Granada. Now, before we face Granada, there is going to be a 9-day break. So these three matches that we are going to be coming up with, which is Villarreal, Osasuna, and Alaves, I think that those are games that Hector Fort can participate in. And by the time we come back from international break, we come in with full fire. And hopefully by that time, we're ready for the match against Napoli, where we don't even know what to expect. It's a Champions League game. We don't know how these teams are going to be reacting, but defensively, we have to be ready. And Hector Fort does give me a lot of confidence. So with Alejandro Balde being injured, it does add towards our injury list, and we have a huge injury list. It's sad to see, and I want these players back, but this is what our injury list does look like. We have Gavi, who is not going to be coming back until like June 30th, 2024. Marcos Alonso won't come back until March 1st. We have Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who won't come back until February 12th, maybe in time for the match against Celta Vigo and also Napoli. And then we have Inigo Martinez, who is going to be out until February 12th. Rafinha out until February 12th. We have, and then Alejandro Balde, lastly, out until February 8th. And that is only because, like, that date is only there because we don't know if he's going to be taking that surgery or not. if he takes the surgery, expect that date to change until like June 12th or something like that, 2024. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.